I'm Penny and I volunteer at the Foundling Museum, and my object is a painting by Hogarth which shows Pharaoh's daughter welcoming Moses after he's been looked after as an infant by his mother, who was his wet nurse. The thing is that this painting forms part of a decorative scheme in the courtroom at the museum, which is a very grand place, and when you first go into it, it's quite striking. Well, one of the main things that the Foundling Hospital wished to do, obviously, was to garner support, particularly from members of the wealthy classes, for their aims. I mean, Thomas Coram spent years trying to get members of the aristocracy to sign his petition in order to get a charter for the hospital. And Hogarth, I think, was on board with that. He certainly gave support to the hospital in various ways, including donating such beautiful paintings as this to them. This painting was one of the key elements in the courtroom, which was the place where the governors of the hospital met regularly to decide on matters of policy, obviously, and probably admissions of new children. But over time also, as the hospital became more well known, they had a lot of visitors as well. And so it was designed to impress those visitors with the chief aim of the hospital, which was to support abandoned children. And the whole theme of the room is built around that. The other paintings in there as well all reference the need to succor the little children, to use biblical terms. And this painting is at the far end of the room, and it stands out because of its colour scheme to begin with. And it's also very cleverly composed. There are a lot of things going on in the painting that actually I don't think everybody necessarily sees when they first look at it. They can admire it for its beauty, but actually it's got a lot of messages there as well, and that's what I find interesting about it. Well, one of the principal messages is the compassion which is trying to be shown to this child. Pharaoh's daughter has her hand extended towards the child, but he's clearly rather scared by what's happening to him. He's clinging to his mother's skirts, although he doesn't actually know it's his mother. And this may sound a little far-fetched, but I mean, I have no parents now. They both died relatively recently. And any child that loses their parents, in fact, regardless of what age they are at the time, experiences an enormous sense of loss. And that was something that took me by some surprise at the time. And so I think from my perspective, although this child still has his mother, he's about to lose his mother, and that makes it all the more sorrowful in terms of my reaction to it, I think. It's rather upsetting if you look at it from the point of view of the child, because they don't actually have any say in what's going to happen to them next. So there are some contradictions in the message that it's putting across, because on the one hand, it's trying to reinforce the idea that the whole ethos of the painting is that children should be looked after and given charity. But on the other hand, that comes with a few strings attached, and in particular, that the child doesn't really have any say in its destiny. Also very sad if you look at it from the perspective of the mother. She also has no choice here. She's having to give her child back to Pharaoh's daughter. She's getting some financial recompense, but she's visibly upset in the painting. But she has no choice either. Her circumstances are such that she can't keep the child with her, and so she's having to leave him. So there is no real control except in the hands of Pharaoh's daughter, and that's not meant to be a criticism of her necessarily, because she thinks she's doing the right thing by the child herself. But everybody else who's in that painting doesn't have any control or choice, really. So, I can see that the painting is fundamentally trying to do good, but I was slightly disconcerted by the fact that it did have some other messages, and some of them weren't quite so positive.